Ah, the mysterious person is back again. Well, I kind of expected this to happen ever since the previous part. I really should exit out of each tier before I end off the part to see if this mysterious stranger comes about. That way it's more convenient to place it anyway. If anything, this stranger is rather philosophical about everything. I just am really curious about who is this person. I'm beginning to speculate that it's a alternate universe version of Dr. Wily, the one that Quint hails from, and he's a good Dr. Wily, and he's trying to help save the world or something. And all of this is either foreshadowing, jokes, references, or combination of the three. And I don't think he's listening to what Roll is saying. I believe that's a reference to MugMan Battle Network. Space. Ah, star, something's coming then. Well, thanks for the foreshadowing and warning. I get the feeling we may visit alternate universes, a scrambled dimension, and something is coming into Earth. Something big. Well, back to the normal part. Greetings, everyone. My name is Zetterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Make a Good MugMan Level Contest 2, or Magmal 2 for short. During the last part, I completed the Tier 5 arcade and moved into the Tier 6 cyberspace. As promised, I'll be paying a visit to the costume shop because I unlocked a new pack of costumes from Nightman for collecting 50 noble nickels. And of course, I will be trying out another one if I have enough bolts for it. Let's see. We unlocked the helmetless version of MugMan. Whatever this MugMan version is, with a cape. Rockman CX from Rockman CX. We have Roko-chan as well, from Roko-chan. Creon from the Creon Conquest, a MugMan clone for the NES. We have also the Metars or Metals. So, at least 6 new costumes. Well, I don't have enough space or enough bolts for the haired version or helmeted version, so... Well, let's try this caped MugMan. Oh, this is Smug MugMan. Well, okay, I'll be playing a Smug MugMan for the rest of this part. And in the next part, I'll be switching over to another costume. Specifically Rockman CX for a very particular reason we'll be seeing soon enough. Or we'll be seeing in the next part. But it'll be fun playing a Smug MugMan. Ah, not MugMan. I wonder what this is a reference to, Smug MugMan with the cape. I get the feeling it's a reference to some sort of comic or something. Oh well. Let's see, where did I last leave off? Okay, I already completed this stage, so... Ah, that's a neat way of transitioning between areas. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, neat. So, MugMan is powering up this entire cyberspace facility. I wonder what would happen if this place crashed or he stopped moving. Would this place cease to exist and everything would be kicked out? I get the feeling that that mad scientist outside didn't really take that into consideration. Home of his extended family. Well, not all of his extended family. If you're wondering what he's saying, this is the next stage. In 40th place is Joe-Man by Zieldak, with a score of 29.2. And just as the name suggests, we're going to be fighting a whole bunch of custom Sniper Joe variants in this stage. 1 energy element and 5 noble nickels. And as a brief word of disclosure, I did play test this stage a little bit. so I do know a little bit of what's going to happen in this stage. Honestly, when I was first testing the stage, I thought this stage would get up to Tier 7 or Tier 8. I honestly thought it would beat my stage, Conveyor Mayhem, but in reality it got placed in Tier 6 for a variety of reasons. But we'll get into that soon enough. We're made to introduce all of these sorts of metars, the normal ones and the floating ones. Here's a new met type, the Shooter Joes, I think. They fire a quick succession of all those 3 bullets. Instead of doing it the usual where it is one shot, a pause, another shot, etc. Here's the first Noble Nickel, pretty easy to get, it's right there in the open. Overall, most of the Noble Nickels in the stage are right in the open, with the exception of 2 of them which are more difficult to get. Well, the 4th one is a little bit harder, the 5th one is really hard, if you don't have that many speed tanks, that is. Here's the next new type of Sniper Joe in the stage, the Grenade Joes, who, after raising their shields, they throw a grenade at your last position. And the grenade does explode, so you gotta be a bit careful. Really liking the stage's aesthetic and music. It's definitely an above average stage in my book. In some ways I would say it's a almost good stage. Like I said, I thought this stage would have been placed in Tier 7 or Tier 8. Oh well. I guess I overestimated this stage's quality or something. But I really like the different variations of Sniper Joes. And I do like the stage progression because we were introduced to all of those mets in a safe environment initially. First over solid ground, then over spikes, and then over bottomless pits. Same with the Joe types, first the Shooter Joes, and then the Grenade Joes, because for the Grenade Joes, we were introduced to them behind an indestructible block. Same with the shield attackers. And just like the rest of the Joes, or most of the Joes, their weakness is the Slash Claw. This is actually a nice variation of the Sniper Joe challenge because we have that Metar acting like a temporary shield. Unless of course you use stuff like the Charge Shot. I really should be using more weapons like the Jewel Satellite and the Hornet Chaser, as they're really underutilized as in many of these levels or this part. Same with the Hornet Chaser and Flash Stopper. Now we have a mini-boss encounter where we need to fight a series of Sniper Joes. It's basically a Horde arena, an easy version because there are only 2 types of Sniper Joes introduced in this level, and thankfully this Sniper Joe doesn't actually switch his positioning, so it makes it a lot easier to deal with, unlike the other types of Sniper Joes which actually do turn if you jump behind them. Honestly, I would have preferred if there was a 3rd Sniper Joe type added to the stage. It would have made it a little bit more fun. Maybe Flamethrower Joes, or maybe even the Mace Joes from Mega Man X. Well, they're not called Mace Joes in Mega Man X, but I call them Mace Joes. And we reached the halfway point of the stage. Thanks also for the life up. Now we're introduced to those explosives. A little bit of a jerk move over there, but you can get by using a Slash Claw. And that's the 3rd Noble Nickel. The rest of the Noble Nickels are a bit harder to get. 4th one for positioning reasons, the other one for, well, you'll see soon enough. I do like how we also have these shielded blocks that prevent us from attacking enemies more easily. Really, it makes the stage feel a bit different. It feels more like a Shield Robot Master stage. Well, it is, because Joe Man is a shield-based Robot Master. Not taking any risks there. And now I'm back up to 90 tanks. I should have waited here. Really, most parts of the stage are fairly introduced and it feels like a pretty good stage. It's definitely an above average stage or a good stage. And it really well utilizes all sorts of shielded type of enemies like Metars, Sniper Joes, etc. The only types of enemies in this stage are all shield variations, with all the variants of the Sniper Joes, the Metars, the shield attackers, etc. But they are utilized well and they're not really frustrating to deal with. I know what they want me to do here, but I'll just do the easy button. That was close. And on the left side is access to the fourth Noble Nickel, and it's a bit more difficult, as you can see why. Precision spike jumps. Of course, we can do stuff like this and circumvent the entire challenge. This looks so much like a door, but it isn't. Oops, I was too slow over there. You need to quickly react to that last count bomb. Thankfully the checkpoint isn't too far back. It feels like a nice, traditional Mega Man level. Nice challenge progression, nice difficulty curve. I wouldn't mind if this was in an actual Mega Man game. I liked it quite a bit even during playtesting. And I do like the cohesive team and the nice variations of gimmicks, and how all the shielded enemies were taken in nice configurations. Although I wish there was a third type of Sniper Joe, like maybe a Mace Joe like I mentioned before. Let's see if I can do this properly. Oh, whoops. I didn't expect to bounce off the grenade over there. I thought that was impossible. Alright, we're back over here. Let's hope I don't jump into the wall again. That was really embarrassing. I didn't expect the grenade to be bounceable. Oh, goody, these types of challenges. Oh, that was way too close. At least the end of the stage is right over there. Well, there's two surmountable challenges coming. First, Joe Man himself, and something else. Thank you for the full life restore, Eddie. I didn't expect you had it in you. Alas, it's time to fight the boss of this stage, Joe Man. Who I'll fight Buster only, of course. At least the first phase, as you'll see soon enough. Alas, that's the end of Joe Man, and this will be the normal end of the stage, but there's something more coming up. In order to get the fifth and final Noble Nickel, we need to face Joe Man R. It's a completely optional fight, but it's a lot more difficult. Thankfully this is a checkpoint, so we have infinite tries to face him, and we get a full life and weapon energy restore. I may start using special weapons against him because of a particular reason we'll see soon enough. The Joe Man fight is completely predictable, and his AI is quite fair, a nice end to a nice stage. Like I said, I thought this would be in Tier 7 or Tier 8, but it didn't. One of the reasons is this boss fight. Joe Man R has 3 health bars instead, and he has a altered AI, which is a lot more difficult to fight. Alright, he's moving into his next phase. Once he loses his first bar of health, he does an explosion dash. It's quite dangerous, and if you're not careful, you can easily get caught off guard by it. But unfortunately, he doesn't really change up his pattern other than that. There really should have been more pattern changes to this fight, similar to what I did for my own boss fight. Otherwise, it feels like I'm just repeating the same motions over and over, just longer. That's why I said you should have multiple E-tanks in order to get this final Noble Nickel. It seems that every time he loses his bar of health, he starts doing the explosion dash. Oh, when he loses his last bar of health, or is down to his last bar of health, he starts throwing those grenades or something. 5 of them. And of course he's so shielded in his phase you can't damage him. Oh, thank goodness for the skull barrier. I'm going to have to use a lot of E-tanks here. I believe his weakness is the Slash Claw though. So if you need it, use it. In fact, I will over here. Of course, all Sniper Joes and their variants are weak against the Slash Claw, and it does pierce his barrier. And by defeating Joe-Man R, we also get a new costume, the Joe-Man costume. I know it from the live stream. And we get 2 E-tanks and a huge bolt, which gives us 100 bolts instead. Do not go into that upper teleporter until you go to the right. We have a visage of 8-bit base, and the 5th and final Noble Nickel. If you do take that teleporter, you're taken to the stage exit, and you have to refight Joe-Man R, I think. But alas, that was Joe-Man's stage. As I repeatedly stated, I really like how it utilized all the shield gimmicks, shield blocks, 3 types of shield enemies, the mats, the 2 variants of Sniper Joes, the bombs, and the shield attackers. Although, as I said, I really wish there was a 3rd variant of the Sniper Joes to make the arena more interesting. Not to mention, Joe-Man R should have more variants in his attacks, or attack patterns to make him a bit harder, and reduce the amount of health that way so it doesn't feel like a repetitive fight. I did like his 2 new attacks, but still, they really should have been introduced a bit earlier. We didn't need 3 bars of health. It doesn't really feel boring to me, it was fun. It's one of those things about preferences for me. I did playtest the stage and it felt fun. It has proper stage design, sure, but I think it lives and dies based off his shield gimmicks, and not many people really like the shielded enemies. It had good graphics, good aesthetics, lovely music, graphics, enemies and gimmicks were introduced properly, etc. This level wasn't frustrating at all. Outside of getting the 4th Noble Nickel and maybe the final Joe-Man R fight, this level wasn't frustrating at all. It was a breeze. Although it's probably because of my skills. I disagree entirely with Guri and how awful it is. As I said, I think Noble Nickel should be hard to get, so I'm not complaining about the 4th Noble Nickel placement. It was fine, sure it's a precise spike jump, but it's completely optional, so it circumvents my usual complaints about spike jumps. And yes, Ace is right, it's too much of a copy of the first World Master. Oh sure, if the first phase was like half his health bar, it'd be okay, but because it's an entire health bar, and it takes the same amount of time to destroy, it really brings it down. And yes, there should have been a sign telling you to go right instead of taking the teleporter. So that was Joe-Man's stage. As I said, I thought it would place into Tier 7 or Tier 8, but it was brought down by those decisions. Moving onward, let's see what's here. We also have a long drop over here. I wonder. I want to try something out. Oh, almost made it. There we go. Is this a secret? It's something else. Here's the actual next level coming up, but first Sheepman. Yes, Sheepman's stage back in MugMan 10 was a really cyberspace oriented stage, what with the point-ons, those blocks, etc. So the next stage in the lineup, in 39th place, is Crystal Lab, by Schmidkalkan, with a score of 29.4. At the very least, all these stages feel like they're above average stages. Only one energy element. The music feels a bit silent, or on the quieter side. We're immediately introduced to the caterpillars, and that was a lucky double big bolt drop. Now we have the cannon joes. We also have all those spike drops. The music should have been amplified a bit so it wasn't overpowered by the sound effects, though. Now we're introduced to the Tatahos, the Plantman platforms. Oh, well, I was lucky. I didn't expect that to be a hidden pathway. I was just suspicious. Well, I will have to replay the stage at least once. Oh goody, these platforms actually move upwards, taking us deeper and deeper into the spikes. And spikes are instant death after all. So we gotta be quick so we don't get crushed against the ceiling. In some ways, they feel like a reskin version of the Sparkman platform, although they're a lot slower. That was way too close for comfort there. I should have been a bit more careful. I'm trying to get the super arrow. I guess this is the harder pathway because of... Wow. Well, I clipped right through the hitbox there. I guess this is the harder pathway for taking shortcuts. Or for more skilled players for speedrunning. Well, I'll try this out once again. Because we're immediately thrown into the thick of things with those evil platforms that push us upwards. I'll call them crystal platforms or something. Because I gotta be a bit careful so you don't fall on the spikes. At the very least, it's not as bad as the spike hitboxes in MugMan Maker. Although in version 1.1.0, it's kinda fixed my qualms with them. Wait a minute. What just happened there? I just phased right through the platform. Did Flashtopper just break the platform? The first death was my fault, the second death I don't know what to expect happened there. Well, apparently it wasn't the Flashtopper. I glitched on the second side, left side of the platform. Apparently the hitbox for these things don't extend far enough. It doesn't extend as far as the graphic does, visually. So it's more of a fault of the developer there. Keep glitching through the platforms over there. I think the hitbox is too small horizontally, and it doesn't match the graphic there. Okay, I made it this far. Once again, I really wish the author actually checked the collision hitboxes for these positions and I died again. Never mind, well... Well, I saved myself somehow. Thank goodness the Sakugarne can spawn on spikes. As I was saying, I think the level author for the next level should check the horizontal hitboxes to see if they more match what the actual graphic is, because off screen I kept glitching off the side of the platform. When I tried jumping onto it, I kept falling right through on the left and right edge. What am I supposed to do here? We're taken all the way back here. This time I'll just take the normal pathway and get back over there. I'm getting too many problems with all of those platform types. I understand the new gimmick, sure, but I feel that the level author should have spent more time with the collision boxes, because it feels like they don't match with the sprite itself. Also a bit of forced weapon usage here, so it's like a fortress level. That's really the main thing that brings down the stage for me. The fact that the main gimmick be introduced with all those, I'll call them slower crystal platforms trying to crush you into the ceiling under spikes, are rather glitchy in terms of their hitboxes, where you can phase right through them if you're not careful. Oh neat, an M-tank. Highly toxic. Well, I will be consuming this one because... might as well. That's my only qualm about this stage so far. The graphics and music are fine, although the music should be amplified a bit. And I do like the concept of that gimmick, it's just that the collision boxes or hitboxes, as I keep railing on it, should be checked to be a bit more precise and accurate. Thankfully there are no noble nickels in the stage, otherwise this would be a lot more difficult. I see two pathways there. I can either go down or I go to the right. Let's go to the right first and then I'll go down next time. We're forced to use special weapons to go to the right though. Oh, hello there, Udon. I think they're called Udons. And this is definitely a fortress stage or one that forces you to use special weapons. Otherwise you will not be able to make it across several of these gaps. What is being created here anyway? I see a mysterious biological creature in the background. Will we be facing it as the boss? A lot of questions are being raised. And honestly, these platforms, the Sparkman ones, should be introduced in a better environment first. They weren't introduced properly. They should have been introduced in a safer environment without risk of being crushed. I panicked there, I should have just stayed over there. Well, the checkpoint's right over here, and I think that's where the earlier chute that I missed goes up to. Once again, you saw me glitch through the platform there. And phase through the wall. I guess that's what brought down this stage. And not a proper introduction to these crystal platforms. But I do like the aesthetic and idea of them. Like I said, they're effectively slower Sparkman platforms. I guess that's the main two things that brought down the stage for the judges. Oh, so that's where the two pathways loop up with each other. I guess I don't need to revisit it again. How are you supposed to get through this though? You're forced to use special weapons in order to get across. Oh. Wait a minute. No, that doesn't work. I didn't make the jump far enough. I'm curious, can I use the wheel cutter right in the wall? Also, checkpoint placement's a bit spotty there. There should have been a checkpoint in the previous screen. Let's try this a different way, as you can see there. Still, it's really risky, and as I said, there should have been a checkpoint earlier. I didn't want to take a risk over there and risk getting crushed. And as I said, thank goodness there are no noble nickels here, otherwise it would be kind of a pain. And this part will now require a lot of edits. Oh, hello there, chill man. I wish we had something like a Crystal Man or something. I mean, this would be an appropriate place to have a Crystal Man. I still have problems fighting Crystal Man, or should I say Chill Man. I will try fighting him one more time, but this time I will use his weakness, which is the Jewel Satellite. So that was the end of Crystal Lab. But there's one last thing I want to do before I finish this off, and that is show that minor alternate path. We're back at this pathway, so let's go down this chute. Hopefully there's no spike traps, and instead we have an auto-scroller. We haven't had one of these for a while. But as I said before, these crystal platforms were not introduced properly. I do like the concept, as I keep saying, but it's really brought down by the improper introduction. Ah, and it loops back up here, so I guess that's the end of the stage. Let's get out of here. As I want to say up front, I really like MugMan's stage more than Crystal Lab. Crystal Lab was really brought down by those 3 aforementioned things. That was a problem, random usages of wheel cutter, insert your utility weapon, etc. Especially near the beginning, and oh, there were cutters in the background? I didn't notice them. And that final segment over there, just before the Crystal Man fight, or should I say Chill Man fight, sorry for the confusion, that can be a little bit frustrating, especially with the fact there's no checkpoint just before that room. That would be a perfect place for it. I love the atmosphere though, it feels kind of like some mysterious, horrific experiments are going on. It's a neat stage, but as I mentioned, it's really brought down by the inconsistent, or should I say, the hitboxes not matching with the graphics of those crystal platforms, the crystal platforms not being introduced properly in safe environments, then ramped up in more difficult configurations. They really threw us into the fray with more difficult configurations of those crystal platforms initially. And then also checkpoint placement problems with several of the pathways, like just before that final shaft before Chill Man. Wheel Cutter was pretty useful in several locations, but honestly this stage didn't click with me. This is one of those stages where I like the design, I like the aesthetics, I like the music, I do like the enemies, but really the problem is the gimmicks aren't introduced properly. The gimmick itself has some issues with hitboxes not matching the graphics, and checkpoint placement is a bit suspect. That really brings it down for me, and honestly, this is around the edge between average to above average level. While I say the initial design and aesthetics for a stage are pretty nice, as I keep saying I like the platform, but it's really marred by its flawed execution. And now for the third and final level of this part, Nitrogen Man by MugMan with a score of 29.6, and it placed in 38th place. Hopefully it has less alternate pathways and has a lot less debt. Oh goody, now we have ice physics, and we're immediately introduced to those... what are those enemies called? I think they're called Peppies or something, or whatever the penguins are. I do like how the lava tiles from Shadow Man stage are retiled to be like nitrogen, or liquid nitrogen or something. Not to mention those enemies from Gemini Man stage, instead of releasing fire, they now release nitrogen or ice. Not to mention we have the wisps from, or those vents from Wave Man stage. I will graciously take that E-Tank, thank you. It's not as creative of a tile set as MugMan and Crystal Lab were, but still this is functional and it works. Apparently these wisps can actually freeze you in place, and it just circumvented all of those enemies. But at least the enemies are being introduced in a fair enough environment, and the gimmick is introduced pretty well. First in a safer environment, now we have different variations of placement. It really befits the theme of the nitrogen wisps freezing you, because liquid nitrogen. Although I wish these were animated a little bit to make the stage feel a bit more lively. If the liquid nitrogen can freeze us, shouldn't jumping into the liquid nitrogen just freeze us immediately in place, act like instant death? Okay then, this is an empty secret. This would be a good place for a Noble Nickel. Honestly, both this and the previous stage really would have benefited from Noble Nickels. Although, it would have made the previous stage a lot more frustrating. I do like the music as well, but it really should have been increased in volume. Ow. Sure, the freezing gimmick is simple, but it's effective. One of the few places where wire adapter will be really useful. Wait a minute. Honestly, I haven't been using Rush Coil much in this game. There are so many other better weapons in this game that you can use other than the Rush Coil, like the Super Arrow, Wire Adapter, Rush Jet, Wheel Cutter, etc. Wait, is the stage over? That was very short. Oh, it is. And once again we fight Chillman, although the musical track is a bit different. Is that a map of the stage as well? Well, I guess the X part marks the place of that secret location of what I collected earlier. Is it just me, or did this Chillman encounter feel easier than the previous one? He didn't use that crystal throw activity, or should I say that chill spike throw attack. Well, that was a rather short stage. I really feel like it should have been 5 to 10 screens longer, so we could have more difficult configurations of all those nitrogen wisps. Still, simple stage aesthetic. It was reskinned of Shadow Man tile set, but I did like the simple gimmick, I suppose. And honestly, it was a lot less frustrating than the Crystal Lab stage was. But really, it should have been taken further. It didn't really capitalize on its aesthetic or theme. And like Power says, parts of the segment felt like Gemini Man Above Ground Mach 2. I sucked at fighting Chillman too, but this time, it worked a lot better than the previous time. Honestly, I would have preferred if this in the previous stage actually reskinned Chillman to be something else. That way we can at least have some difference. It would have given some more kudo points. Honestly, I thought Jupi would be more harsh in the stage for its lost potential. Overall, a rather samey stage that didn't have much to say about it. This is one of those stages I feel that were carried by some of the judges to be pushed in Tier 6, because honestly this feels like a Tier 5 stage, or if it was more harsh, a Tier 4 stage, somewhere between the boundary of a Tier 4 or Tier 5. Although this was definitely more fun than Crystal Lab was, due to the aforementioned glitches of Crystal Lab. So in summary, I'd say that my favorite level of this part was Joe-Man, of course. I liked the gimmick, and I really liked how far the shield gimmick and aesthetic was taken further, or how far it was executed and implemented, with all the 3 types of shielded enemies, the shielded blocks, the explosives, and the Joe-Man R fight, or should I say the regular Joe-Man fight. Although it was brought down by some preferences, because not all Mega Man players really like shielded enemies, the fact we didn't have enough variation near the end, not having a Turret Sniper Joe type or variant, as well as the Joe-Man R encounter not being different enough. So in the next part, I'll continue deeper into Tier 6 and hopefully complete it. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!